As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be
Oh
a
man,
home
it's
run.
8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a...
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only stressed out, migressed out. What's up, dude?
Yeah, I've noticed that I haven't been incorrigible in a while.
It's
like
not an
that one.
incorrigible time, thanks to the Phillies.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Phillies. We're recording both of these episodes, so you guys are going to get Potomac first. That's what we're handling right now. We'll do Roni a little bit later, before the Phillies game later. So we're okay right now, but you might want to check on us tomorrow.
Things are fine right now, and I went all out because, look, those that follow us on social media, yes, do I rage post in our stories when the Phillies lose? I do. Have I done that forever? I have, and will continue to do that because that's who I am. But I also made a post this morning and said, we're back. It's going to be the same. This is the mind of a Philadelphia fan for any sport. So in honor of that, I wore my Phillies jersey with my Phillies hat. So this could age like sour milk, honestly. We're going to see how this goes because when these episodes drop, we're either going to game 5 of the NLDS or I'm wearing this and we just lost the night before and I really look like a fucking moron. So this is a big gamble. It's a big gamble, but something tells me, and the group chat feels the same, for some reason, probably because we're fucking stupid and Philly fans, we're all like, guys, I think we got it.
Hey, you got to take risks in life, you know?
Oh, it's a life moment. I like that.
Yep, big life moment here.
Big life moment. Yeah, you got to learn. But we're not here to talk about the Phillies. We're here to talk about another one of my true loves. And oh my gosh, I can't tell you how excited I am to talk about after watching this premiere. We're here to talk about Potomac, and even Shooter Magooter, noted Potomac hater, enjoyed this episode. And you already told me that. I was going to ask, how'd you like it? But I know you did. I'm just going to out you for it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's usually a good sign when I'm texting you while watching saying I'm enjoying it. I think what I actually said was Karen and Gizelle together is way, 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 way better than Gizelle and Robyn. So that's promising. Look, it was a very promising first episode. I just felt pretty good enjoying the episode. I laughed a lot. I enjoyed everything that was going on. It seems like everybody's in a better place, at least for storylines. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to get into. And for some weird reason, honestly, it's pretty similar to how we feel about the Phillies. For some weird reason, I just trust that it's going to be good. And I don't know why.
Yeah. I do too. Maybe that's why I feel good about the Phillies, is because Potomac was good. I'm like, oh, it's the same vibe.
Yeah. I think it's the other way around for me, but yeah.
That's interesting that you brought that up. I agree. And I think that what we're seeing, am I going to stand on my roof and scream Potomac's back? Not yet.
Nope.
Was this a fantastic step in the right? This is better than any episode of Potomac that we've watched in the past 2 years. Hands down.
Easily, without a doubt.
Yeah. This was a great episode. You are correct. Gizelle and Karen is so much more enjoyable than watching the fucking green-eyed bandits do their nonsense. It was just, the episode flowed well. It moved quickly. There's a lot of storylines. It seems like you said, everyone's in a better place with one another. It's not so at their throats. There's some really good shade being thrown around and kind of under the table. It's kind of backhanded shade, which we love, backhanded shade. So I'm excited where they go with this. And we saw on socials, there were some mixed reviews. They were, I would say, more positive than negative. And I feel like something that happens with housewife shows in particular is when they get a bad rap, it is so hard to break away from that even if it's a decent episode, everyone is so hypercritical and kind of knocks it down. So I'm curious if they'll be able to crawl out of the hole that they dug for themselves. But we're off to a great start. So why don't we jump right in?
Let's do it.
With the weirdest intro I think I've ever seen to a television show in my entire life. And I just want to note before we talk about all of this, the approach that Bravo has taken with this DUI versus that of Shannon Bedore is wild to me. On one hand, you have Shannon who's getting vilified for it. And now they're doing this whole season of people trying to knock her down, rip her apart for her first DUI. We go over to Karen, and they're all being supportive. They're trying to paint in a different light. And this is her second DUI. And we start the episode out with one of the most inappropriate,
Yeah.
off-color, ridiculous, unnecessary scenes ever. A fucking reenactment? Like, what are we doing? I thought Bravo was getting the hint. Hey, we need to be better about how we approach substance abuse problems. And then they do a reenactment. I was floored. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's one of those things that honestly, it could be taken, and I wouldn't blame anybody if they took this in poor taste and they looked at it and said, why are they doing this? I don't get it. This is awful. You can't make light of something like this. But because it was so ridiculous and because of what we saw Karen do in this first episode, it was so entertaining. It was wild. It was incredible that they started off the season with a reenactment of what you might see. You know what they actually have for all the Philly people down at the Franklin Institute? They actually have a DUI arcade game. And I loosely call it an arcade game. It's pretty much, hey, why don't you go see what it's like to drive drunk? And they impair you. They make it hard to turn the wheel. There's things jumping in front of you. There's flashing lights. That's what Bravo decided to do to open this episode. It's just so ridiculous that you can't not laugh at it. And we've spent, like you said, all of the OC season treading lightly, trying to make sure that Shannon's okay. For this one, they started it off so ridiculously that we don't have to do any of that because they're already making a joke out of it. So who cares?
I was blown away. I couldn't fucking believe it when it's like, this is a reenactment. And I was like, and they have like the cameras shifting back and forth. It zooms in on the deer and you're skirt. And then it zooms in on the wheel, just like spinning out. And then it's like, on May, whatever, Karen Huger was in a DUI. Like, this is shooter. This is an event that could have ended her life, ended the life of somebody else. It is a major, major issue. And we just watched a reenactment that you and I could create on our fucking iPhones right now. Yeah. It would take us 30 minutes to do this and cut it together on Reels. And we just watched it on a nationally broadcasted television show, reenacting the DUI of one of the characters we're about to talk about. That actually happened in real life.
Yeah, it was insane.
A lead off. But it was wild. But Gizelle calls Ashely and she's headed over to Karen's. And Karen's been staying at home, kind of out of the limelight, hasn't been in contact with people. I forgot this was her second offense.
Yeah.
And as somebody that, you know, staunchly tries to defend people going through things when it comes to substance abuse problems, it is much harder to defend a second-time offender. You didn't learn your lesson from the first one. That's a very different story. But I do like that we get this side of Gizelle immediately. And it's a side we don't see that often other than when she's with her family. And we like that side of her where it's more sympathetic, more sentimental. She puts all their bullshit aside briefly. It's like, look, at the end of the day, do we clash? Sure. But I've known Karen for a long time. We are friends. And you know they're friends. You see the back and forth. Yeah, they're on the out sometimes, but they are friendly with one another. So to see this side of her out of the gate, like, look, I'm worried about my friend. Known her for a long time. Fuck all the bullshit. Let's go figure out what's going on with Karen. So for Gizelle to start the season out, there was something comforting about that scene immediately for me where I'm like, ooh, this is new and I like this direction.
Yeah, it was really interesting for me too, watching it in the same way. I easily could have seen, and I'm pretty sure we talked about this when the news broke about Karen's DUI. We thought that Gizelle was going to tee off on her. We thought that this was an easy layup for typical Gizelle to jump in, immediately have a storyline that has nothing to do with her, and she can play the role of Tamra when she goes after Shannon. That's what we thought we were going to see, and instead we saw a softer side. And look, I mean, we stopped covering last season, but maybe she started to soften up towards the end. I know she softened up a little bit in the reunion. It's nice to see this side because Gizelle is really good. We've told her, and we've told everybody. We've told everybody.
Gee, you're doing great, dude.
She does things. She does a lot of things for the show that are entirely necessary. We just get annoyed with her because we don't see this side of her too often. And to start off the season like this with no Robyn, seeing Gizelle do that, going over to Karen's because she does care about Karen, talking to Ashely about it. It immediately had a different feeling than what we've watched in the last two seasons, where it seemed, I don't want to say good, entertaining, I want to say tolerable. Whereas that is way higher of a ranking than we've given them in the past.
Oh, yeah. Last year we stopped watching. And Potomac, obviously, you guys all know, I harp on it all the time, it was my favorite. I loved Potomac. It was my absolute favorite. Watching its downfall was really difficult for me. It was a hard time. I got through it.
It was
So
fun
to
for me
see it-
because I watched you go through it.
I know, and you're a fucking narcissist, not a narcissist. What is it? Sadist. You
Yeah,
goddamn, that makes you happy. But going through that was tough for me. So to see it, as you said, just out of the gate, I'm like, this is better. I like this. Let's see where it goes. I wasn't immediately like, hell yeah. I was immediately like, wow, Robyn really was the problem when it came to Gizelle. Like that duo was so negative and bad for TV.
Yeah.
When she's rid of her, and you see it throughout the episode with Gizelle, I'm like, this is great. You're even if you get into some shit and get shady again, I'm interested now because I don't have to see the back and forth between you and Robyn behind closed doors, like he, because that's not entertaining. So to see her kind of do her own thing, she's stepping out. Like she is very likely going to be the star of the season, and rightfully so. As you said, we've given Gizelle her flowers time and time again. She brings something to the show. We don't always like her, but she brings it. This gives her an opportunity to really step up and be the star of the season. So I'm curious what her arc's going to be, but she gets to Karen's, and this is wild. This is weird to me, and her demeanor's strange. I understand she just went through a lot, but she picks her up to go to Tally Ho for breakfast, and they're talking about the case a little bit. The case, the DUI. Karen's responses are that of somebody that's going through the judicial system to get exonerated or acquitted. She's like, the truth will come out. Like, this is a case. We can't talk about it. Like, it's like, dude, no, you got a DUI. You're going to go to trial to see whether or not you go to jail. It's not a question mark of, did this happen?
No, but that was such a funny response. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not even finding these things weird. I'm not like ultra questioning anything that's going on. I'm just having a great time. I'm laughing because the responses are just as ridiculous as the reenactment to begin with. We start off the episode in the season with that reenactment, which was insane and ridiculous. And Karen's response to the whole thing is equally insane and ridiculous. The fact that she's sitting there telling Gizelle, you'll find out the truth. The truth will come up. What truth? You had a DUI. Like,
you got a DUI. Like, no. By the way, you got a DUI, DWI, driving without a license, driving with an unregistered car, willful endangerment. Like, you got this is a list of charges. You didn't just get hit with a DUI and you crashed your car. There's so much here.
There's no one else to blame but what you did too, which is like, that's usually
she's blaming the deer.
I know she's blaming
the deer. Like, fuck me. Like, what seriously, are we doing?
But the streets are too dark. I'm going after the district because they need to put street lights out there. Like, maybe that's something like,
I don't know.
It was
crazy.
But it was so insane that like all I could do was laugh. And then the orchestrated setup that she had at this restaurant was even better. It was
with Andreas. Was that his name? I wrote it down. Yeah, Andreas comes over and goes, by the way, she's never had a drink here. And Joel's like, I didn't. They don't serve alcohol. You're like, ooh, turn around. Yeah, I just comped them. I just comped them free booze so that we could have this moment. They do drink here. I knew you were going to ask that. Ladies, toast them. That was so orchestrated and planned by Karen. It was great. Though. But what you see from Karen here is a very different Karen Huger than we have seen ever. She's deflated. She is not as exuberant. She kind of lost her sparkle a little bit, is a good way to put it. I think like it's just she's not the same. And she does talk about
stuff. Very self-righteous. I'll give her that.
She's
always been incredibly self-righteous. And this is a moment where maybe you would think you would take a step back from all of that.
Correct.
No, she's actually more self-righteous. And by the end of the episode, somehow she gets to a different level. I don't know how the hell she got there, but it is
I have
very
a theory.
Fun.
I have a theory. I'm going to save it for later. But it is interesting to watch this different, just Karen kind of operate in this new space. We do find out, and we've known, she is going through a whole lot, right? Her parents passed away. That really hit her hard. Her and Ray have been having consistent marital problems. She's just in a weird place. And then the DUI happens. Like, we're not sure what led to it.
Right.
But what you are seeing, I think, is just the breakdown over time. There's been a lot weighing on her. This is not in any way justifying getting behind the wheel of a car drunk for the second time by any means. I don't care what you're going through. That's not an excuse, but something led to this. And you're seeing the aftermath, and you're seeing the effect on her emotionally. Her personality is different. Everything's different. She's just not the same. And it kind of gets amplified later. But we get updates, and I like this. This is where this back and forth, as you said, this Karen and Gizelle duo is great because, yes, they're friends. There's always going to be that air of just kind of, we don't always get along. Like we keep each other in check. So I like that. I like that she's sitting there getting the tea from Gizelle because she hasn't been around the crew for a while. So you get this little kind of drama dump, which is really fucking funny. And she's going through Ashely. She's good. Mia's traveling the world with DJ Applebox, which is fucking phenomenal line.
Yeah.
And then they show the pictures, and this poor fucking guy has to stand 5 feet in front of Mia, so he doesn't look so short.
Do you think that's Mia's doing, or do you think it's
Oh,
Ink's
absolutely
doing?
No, it's
Do you think it's Mia's doing?
Yeah, she doesn't want to be seen with a short king, and there's nothing wrong with short kings. This dude, Mr. Ink, I believe is his name. He's a radio personality.
Well, it's DJ Ink, and I think his name is just Ink.
And they call him, okay, so he's a DJ for a radio station. He's a radio personality in the DMV area, is what we've gathered. And they're moving quickly. They're moving very fast. You know, ever since the Gordon shit popped off last year, we're in tune with what happened last year. We both kept up with Potomac. We just didn't watch religiously and talk about it, but we know the ins and outs. But all in all, this is such a great, this is what this show needed to start the premiere out. Like, you needed these two scenes back to back, the fucking reenactment, and then these two getting along. It sets the stage for success, and that's what we needed. But jumping immediately to Mia and G, I was like, this is great, because where do they stand? And I like that they're co-parenting. I like that they're coexisting. We don't wish harm, obviously, on relationships with their children. That's just fucked up. So it's good to see that they're able to do all that. What's crazy is the paternity test of it all.
It's insane.
Right?
It's unbelievable. And I don't think I've come around on Mia since the first time watching this, because I did not think that the show needed Mia. I thought that she was annoying. I thought that everything she tried to do, she tried to force being iconic, and she thought that everything that she said was iconic, and it really, really ruffled my feathers. It rubbed me the wrong way. But now I've come around. It grounds one of my gears. I'm not going to tell you guys how many gears I have, but one of them was definitely ground.
I only have one.
You only have one left?
I always say because I fucked it up like 2 years ago. I said, you know what really grinds my gear? And then like 10 people commented like, it's grind my gears, plural. It's like, oh, duh. Like I
only have one left, guys.
And then I just said I only have one.
Yeah, fair enough. But no, I've come around to her because she's been sharing a lot more of her personal life. She's not just getting mixed up in things and just, getting angry with people and trying to have those iconic lines anymore. There's a lot going on in Mia's life, and she's sharing, which we always appreciate. She doesn't understand what having a paternity test means. The fact that she's sitting there talking to G saying, no, there's not a doubt in my mind that you're Jeremiah's father. Then why are you doing the paternity test? Like, whose idea is that? Well, if it's Ink's idea and you're going along with it, that means that there is some doubt in your mind. And I don't know what more G can do to express that to her. And I like that you can tell what they're going through right now is fully organic, because he just stops. He's like, you know what? I'm not getting through to you. We've done this a million times before. Every time that we fight, I'm just trying to explain something to you that seems pretty logical, seems pretty basic. And she is off in her own little world. She's spinning it however she wants to spin it and acting like it's G's fault. It's not. He doesn't want the paternity test. He said there's no doubt in his mind that he's Jeremiah's father. Don't do this to him. Don't crush him, because guess what's going to happen? As soon as it comes back and it might be maybe Jeremiah is Ink's, what's that going to do for the co-parenting situation? Don't you want that to work? Because it's not going to work anymore if it is.
That's the thing. And to this point in that child's life, G's been the father. I don't think this is where it enters that realm of, oh shit, we're entering real life now. This is ramifications for a child. It's getting really messy. I like that G was kind of checked out from it at that point, where he's like, what do you want from me? Like, me agreeing to do this is me admitting I have doubt. I don't. And whether he's doubting it or not, like, he may be wondering, but at the same time, it could be as simple as, this is my kid, regardless of what that test says. I've raised this child. He is my child. Maybe it's like, I don't want to know.
Do you think we get Maury? Do you think Maury Povich is going to hop up here?
Holy shit. Wouldn't that be awesome? You are not the father. That would be great.
Did Maury pass away?
No. Maury did. Yeah. I'm thinking
Jerry Springer did too.
Jerry Springer, RIP. Maury, I do believe, died. Who am I thinking of? I don't know. But yeah, I think he did pass away.
Yeah, we need the ghost of Maury to come up. God, wouldn't that be funny if he's
a
if he's not
posthumous paternity test?
he didn't even die. We're
He's
just
a
like
hologram.
the ghost.
He's totally alive, by the way, probably. And he's like,
Yeah.
maybe he listens to us. He's like, what the fuck? That doesn't happen. But
The hologram just malfunctions and Tupac jumps up.
anyway, I do like that they're able to resolve their issues somewhat. Where G's like, I was mean to you. I take full responsibility. I regret that. And she's, he's saying you ran to another man's arms, which she did.
Yep.
And I think it's interesting that she's taking issue with certain things. Like, what do you mean you won't let him get his hair cut by ink? It's like, because that's fucking weird. This is a guy that you were banging behind my back that Jeremiah walked in on, by the way, which is wild. And you want me to be okay with him cutting his hair. Like the thing that she is best at and why she's come into her own versus what we saw in the beginning when she's trying to be iconic, this and that. She is not that. What she is a mess. She's very good at being messy, over the top, and just ridiculous. And that's what we're getting here. And that's when she performs really well. This scene is really kind of sad in so many ways, but it works. But the fact that she's going to then blame G for outing it on TV, it's like, no.
Where all the problems come from.
Correct. Yeah. You slept with another man. That's where this came from. Where it gets outed, you don't have control over that. The fact that you're on a TV show means that a scorned spouse has a platform to be like, you know what? Fuck you. Watch this. You're banging somebody else. Boom. Now everybody knows because you stepped out on me. She cannot point the finger at him and say, you caused this problem. Now Jeremiah's questioning things. No, Jeremiah walked in on you riding ink. That's where the problems began. Hey, let's be real. Is that too much?
No, I wanted to say dipping your pen and company ink.
Oh, that's so much better.
Yeah.
That was really good. But at the end of this, Ink's trying to give you time, but it's his right as a man. She goes with it's his right as a man to know. No. He has no rights. He's a home wrecker. He has no rights here. Okay. He doesn't get to do that. If you guys have an adult conversation and you really think this child is his, different story, but he doesn't get to make demands. He's the third party. Right. So the whole thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way at the same time.
For the love of God, do not involve Jeremiah. Do not have a sit down with this child. What is he, 8 years old?
Please,
you're going to have a please just do not have a sit down with this child. I don't want to see it on camera, but I'm also talking about off camera. I'm just talking about for his psyche. Do not have a sit down with him and say, hey, by the way, bud, we need to test your DNA because we need to make sure that your father is your father. How much do you think that's going to fuck up the kid? Because what if the DNA test comes back and he is Gordon's kid? Then all of a sudden, there's no issue. It's completely irrelevant. And you just messed with this 8-year-old because you wanted to do something that maybe makes Ink feel better. And then what? He's probably still going to go against it. So just leave the kids out of it.
He's going to, rule number 1, leave the kids out of it. He's already going to need therapy from this, by the way. Like he's already kind of off to a rough start, unfortunately for Jeremiah. He seems like a sweet kid, but you're not doing him any favors. This isn't helping either. But we move on to Ashely and Maria, her lawyer. I'm not going to sit here and talk about it anymore. We're still
I don't want to do
divorce.
it. I can't do it anymore.
We don't have to.
I don't want to. I let out the biggest sigh when I saw that she was talking about, I'm finally going through with the divorce. Are you? Because we heard that 3 years ago. I don't want to deal with it. I don't care. Nothing has changed. We talked about this 2 years ago. We don't want to hear about it anymore because it's all Ashely talks about and nothing ever changes. So, hey, do us a favor. Let us know when there's an update. If there's no update, please stop. We don't want to watch it
anymore. No. Also,
you don't even want an update anymore?
You let us know when it's done.
Yeah. When it's gone through.
Over and official and you sign the papers and he signed the papers, just say that, hey guys, it's over, and then let's move on. I did the same thing, except Dev was downstairs and I was like, are we really fucking still talking about this? And she was like, oh my God, I know, right? So I had the same thing, and that's we're not talking about it anymore. When she has a finalized divorce settlement, we will bring it back up. But from here on out, when it comes up and it's a scene only about Ashely and the divorce, we are not discussing it.
There will be a sentence that just says, and then we get to Ashely talking about her divorce, and then we'll go to the next scene.
Deal? Shake. Let's do a camera shake.
Hit her shake.
Nice. All right, moving on. If you're not watching YouTube, you really missed out. That was riveting. Gets Dr. Wendy and one of my favorites. What's up?
This was hilarious too.
Dude, for so many reasons, but first and foremost, one of my favorite house husbands, Happy Eddie. Love seeing the guy. He's just a happy guy. So we get to see Eddie, but
what do you mean happy?
What do you mean? What do you mean by happy?
What do you mean by happy? Is he flirting?
Yeah. Well, what is he smiling at you again? This motherfucker. Like, God damn it. What are you, nice and
God.
shit? Nah, you're flirting. Nah, I love that he has used that name to start a brand for weed.
Uh-huh.
Genius. Way to
Perfect.
capitalize, dude.
Way
He
to
did
go.
it. And you know what else he's good at? He didn't have to jump on screen to get credibility to make that shift. Like, he started that company, Happy Eddie, but he's never the mainstay. He's never in the camera light for too long.
Never
Like, he
gets
just touch and go.
involved. Yep.
He's great. Good for you, Eddie. And good for you.
But wait, no.
But-
So this scene with Dr. Wendy was back-to-back scenes of me saying we're still doing this because I am so fucking tired of hearing her explain why she's a doctor.
She's done.
No, I know. Well, she's done being a professor. You're never done being
It's
a
the same
doctor.
thing. Well, no,
Once again, we're still doing this. Wendy, you have been on this for what, 4 seasons? I do not care about your resume anymore. By the way, if you're going to send a resignation email, fucking spell check it. Did you see that thing?
No, I was too busy laughing at the fact that she was doing this on camera, and I would love to see the dean at the school that she works at. Like, thank God.
I don't know this for sure, but I imagine she probably taught one class that met like Wednesday night at 7 p.m. It was 3 hours
Careful.
long.
Don't mess
And it
her
was
credit.
every other week. I don't give a shit. I'm so tired about hearing about Dr. Wendy. I don't care anymore. I'm so over it. And if you're going to send a resignation email and you're going to spell things wrong, and I'm not just saying that I looked at the email and I saw some squiggles underneath, because sometimes some squiggly lines will pop up underneath of a word. Maybe it's misplaced. Maybe they feel like you could use it in a better way. Maybe there's a punctuation issue. No, she spelled words incorrectly. She spelled a few words incorrectly and sent that to the dean. And by the way, the dean does not give a shit what your reasoning is. Just resign. Hey, I want to put in my resignation. I hope that everything's going to go well. I don't want to like burn any bridges, blah, 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 whatever. You don't need to talk about how you need to prioritize my family and everything else going on. Like, nobody cares. Just resign.
I agree with that. I agree with you. I don't want to do this, though, because I feel like she does get knocked for credibility because of this show. Now, for the record, she is a correspondent on multiple news outlets. She interviewed KJP from the White House.
I can't wait to see her.
I am so excited to see that.
That's
Karen
what won
Jean-Pierre.
for the DC show, by the way. I mean, I know that we used to have Real Housewives of DC, and that was like a whole thing, but then they had to shut it down because there was too many political people on there. But you get the White House secretary in there, I'm in.
I am too, but that's what I don't want to do, is disparage the fact that, yes, it's very funny that we get stuck in the doctor thing. And yes, we know you're a fucking doctor. Yes, we know you have 4 degrees. Yes, we know you have a PhD. I don't want to take away the credibility factor from her because it is impressive. At the same time, same exact response as you. Like, Jesus, we're doing this again. But the good thing is we got it out of the way with both of them right out of the gate. Let's move on. Hopefully they can have different storylines.
Somebody's not again. I know for a fact that somebody is not going to address Wendy as doctor. She's going to correct them, and then we're going to have the exact same confessional once again about all of the things that she's done, all of her accolades. Same thing with Ashely. We're going to have to go through her divorce stuff once again the entire season. Those are 2 things that we as Brow Bros promise you we will not talk about anymore. We're done with it.
I agree. But let's keep trucking. We get to meet 2 of the newcomers, Vivian and Stacy, and they're hanging out with Karen. And Stacy met Karen through Vivian. So all of these ladies are friends. Stacy's from Philly, or lived in Philly while she was on the QVC network, went back to the DMV, and they're shooting the shit. They talk about the invite to Giselle's Hattitude party, which, you know me, I'm a sucker for play on words. Hattitude's great. Yeah, big fan of that. But this is where you start to see the ramifications of the DUI, because they're toasting, they're having a little drink, and they both go, "Oh shit, Karen, like, is this cool?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm on medication. I'll share libations with you shortly." It's like, Karen, you should not do that. You really shouldn't drink on camera this season just because of what's going on in your actual life. That's a bad look. Again, the 2 DUIs makes this next to impossible to defend. You should not drink on camera, period, for optics alone. I'm not even talking about your mental well-being, which is the more important part. But if you're concerned about your image as the grand dame, don't do this. But again, you see a deflated Karen Huger here. And this is my theory from earlier. And I think that what you're getting now with this less boisterous, less loud, a little bit more calm, a little bit more reserved Karen, where she's not as confident, is what it seems like. I think what you're getting is she for so long is hidden behind this image that she believes everyone to see is the Grand Dame. And I think that we all kind of talk about it somewhat in jest. Like, yes, we give her a flower. She is the Grand Dame. But at the same time, like, it doesn't hit like it did in the early seasons. Now it's kind of changed a little bit as to what we refer to as the Grand Dame. And I feel like what has happened with the DUI coming out, with it being such public knowledge and such public news, especially locally, she's no longer capable of hiding behind that. And you're kind of starting to see what all of the stuff going on in her life has done to her. She's falling apart. She's not doing well at home with Ray. She lost her parents. She's a mess from that. So you're seeing the fracture that it's caused. And this is a much different Karen. And it's somebody that's trying to deal with all of this shit. And I think that that's what you're getting is kind of the mask is off. She's no longer capable of hiding behind that facade of the Grand Dame because we see her for who she is, which is okay. You're human. But at the same time, you can't take the approach of, I will be justified from this. I'm fine. Nothing happened. Like, sorry, dude. We watched this. We seen it. We got a great reenactment out of the gate. So we know exactly how it went down. But I just think that that's what this is. I think that this different Karen that we're seeing is a Karen that's defeated because she no longer has the veil of the Grand Dame. Now we see you fully.
Yeah, no, I have nothing really to add to that except for a potentially funny anecdote. We've been rewatching a lot of Arrested Development, and
Oh, nice.
Karen is starting to remind me of Lucille Bluth, which is very fun for me because there is a scene in Arrested Development where Lucille picks up the prescription and looks at it and says, well, yeah, I'm allowed to drink because of the prescription. There's a little sign on it, and I mistook it for a winky face when it said alcohol next to it, not a please don't drink. It's going to make you drowsy. That's what I thought of when Karen said, no, I'm on medication. Don't worry. I'll be having libations with you girls soon. That's what I thought of was Karen picking it up and saying, alcohol? Yeah, absolutely.
You just almost made me spit out my coffee. Oh my God. That's fucking perfect. That's nail on the head. But even her to say that, like, oh, I'm on medication. It's like, who are you lying to right now? They know what happened. They're not bringing this up to you.
No, you're
she's
just
acting like they're like, she's literally acting like they're asking her because it has nothing to do with the DUI. Like, why would you guys ask me that? Like, of course I can.
Confused.
Yeah, like you guys are, of course you're allowed to drink. Like, I'm just not drinking because of the meds. It's like,
yeah, is this
they
wait,
know,
is this a
Karen.
thing?
Yeah, they know.
Like a sudden realization of like, why are they asking me this? Oh shit, is this a thing? Don't worry about it. I'm gonna play it cool. I'm on medication right now.
On
I
meds.
can't drink. Don't worry about it. Like the comment of "Don't worry, girls. I'll enjoy some libations with you soon."
Alarming.
Is wild.
Alarming.
It's insane. That just tells me that you have no idea what's going on. I think that from all of the DUI situation, I'm pretty sure she'll get her license taken away from her. It's good. You will
She
not
had
be
an
able to drive
unregistered
anymore.
license to begin with.
Exactly. So now it's fully gone. Don't no more driving. You can't drive anymore. Not going to happen.
You don't need to. Just like, Jesus, if you have even a modicum of self preservation, don't just like fucking call. I'll never understand when rich people drive.
Yeah, I know.
It will never make sense to me, especially when Uber is available. That will never track. Like, if you have tons of money, why are you driving sober? Get a fucking driver.
You get a little bounce back basket from Ashely a little bit later that has some Uber things in there.
That we're right there. We get to the Hattitude party, and that was the shadiest backhanded basket.
I liked it.
Ever.
I liked it a lot.
I got her bounce back basket. We got a big water bottle,
huge water bottle.
Uber
you gotta hydrate.
Cards. Oh my God, damn! Like that's shady, but that's what I'm talking about.
Teas. Yeah.
When this show's doing well, they do this better than other shows. They're good at backhanded shade, and I love their reactions. The facial expressions, how they respond to shade being thrown, because they don't like to jump right in. They like to kind of play around with it a little bit before they get amped up about it. I thought the bounce back box was hysterical, extraordinarily condescending from Ashely, but still extremely funny. But yeah, Gizelle invited Wendy to the party as well. As we know, they're a bit on the outs. So Gizelle is claiming to be in a different era where she's a little bit more sympathetic, more empathetic, more compassionate. She lost her father and that rattled her a little bit. We saw that in the reunion last year, her talking about it. But from all that we've seen, it does appear that Gizelle is trying to enter a new era. Do I trust it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that she's still reasonably shady in there somewhere, but I do like that she's taking this approach. And also, I don't think that this is possible, both her interaction with Karen and this invite and olive branch to Wendy, if Robyn is still in the picture. I don't think this happens.
I agree, because
So,
she realizes that she has to align herself in different ways. The smartest thing to do is align yourself with Karen, because you do have a good relationship with Karen. And by doing that, you can still be a force to be reckoned with. People will think twice before going against you because they know what you're capable of. But if you can give the audience a much more entertaining season by not doing the same thing that you've been doing because Robyn isn't there, that's going to bode really well for you. People who are noted annoyed people at Gizelle in particular, us, immediately start off the season by saying this has a lot of promise because of where Gizelle is right now. So if she continues down this path, that's how this season's going to go. We can overlook Dr. Wendy and Ashely's divorce proceedings because they're not really that big of an issue if the show is good around it. And if the show's going to be good, we need a good Gizelle. So if she continues to do this, that's going to be great for them.
I agree. We get to meet some more of the friend ofs. Jaqueline's still around, so she shows up. I was shocked.
That's the only gripe of this season so far, the episode so far. Why is Jaqueline back? Get her out. I don't need her.
I don't know, but I will say this: she was toned down a little bit. She didn't come in as hot as she normally does. We'll see. I agree with you. That was one where I was like, oh man.
Yep. No,
she didn't need to come back, but she's there. So let's grin and bear it, because this is a solid first episode. We get to meet Jazzy, whose husband is a linebacker for the Chiefs at the time. He's on the Cowboys now. I did a little Googling. I'm not sure how much he actually plays, but he is, he won a Super Bowl. So the fuck am I to say?
He won 2.
So he won 2 Super Bowls. My bad. So yeah, again, like, even if he's not a starter, like, he's a fucking Super Bowl champ. So, but we find out that Karen had called Jaqueline at some point, and Mia jumps out and says, oh yeah, she was drunk. And Jaqueline's like, ooh, she may have been. That's not good. This is not good for Karen. And I don't know if, I genuinely cannot figure out if Karen understands the gravity of the situation because of things like this. Like, I don't think so either. And that's unfortunate, because it's your second. This is a big fucking deal. Like, you can do jail time for 2 DUIs. I mean, at the very least, you're looking at hefty fines, no license for years and years and years. This is a big deal. And for you to be calling drunk dialing friends in the aftermath is a very big issue. And for me to call it out, that was.
Well, do you think, and let me ask you this, because this is a pretty serious question. Do you think that maybe we're giving her a hard rap on this, and she needs to just continue doing what she's doing because the truth hasn't actually come out yet?
What do you mean? No.
Maybe we're being a little too hard on her. We don't know the full story. Maybe the truth needs to come out before we figure this out.
Well, everyone's like mirroring that sentiment. They're like, who are we to judge? It's like, guys, not for nothing, but she crashed her car, and then she got a breathalyzer or a blood test that said she was under the influence. So there's not a whole lot more there. Can I show some kind of grace and be like, all right, she was going through a lot to a certain extent, but that still does not justify the DUI, especially number 2. I know what you're doing. It's very, it's funny as shit, but it's crazy to me, but
I'm going to reserve judgment until the truth comes out.
Yeah. It's probably for the best, honestly. It's probably for the best, but the shade continues. The NA, the non-alcoholic Grand Dame beverage, which is very funny. And Karen immediately recognizes a shade, and Gizelle with the confessional is like, yeah, she wants people to think she's classy, but here's the non-alcoholic version of the Grand Dame. Like, she's in that moment mirroring my sentiment of, you're starting to see behind it. Like, you're starting to see past the Grand Dame. Like, here's who Karen actually is. And it's not always pretty. Let's see what happens with it. But I do like that they're continuing to do the subtle jabs at each other, because it's really funny. What was crazier was Karen's monologue. Her saying, I need to see who my real soldiers are. I'm not going to be around any fake bitches. And as long as it takes for justice to prevail, once again, as though this is a case of whether or not you did it. You did it. It happened. And
it
thank
was
God
insane. Like, what is it? I don't even know what she's addressing. Again, by the way, Karen, you have been away. You needed Gizelle to tell you what everybody in the group is up to. So as far as I know, I don't know who you're talking to.
I don't know.
Like usually when people have speeches like this, they know that there's some bullshit going on behind their back. Somebody is giving them some information about other people talking, maybe speculating here and there, maybe spreading some rumors, and we know exactly who you're talking about. We have no idea what's going on. Who are you talking to? Like, what are you doing? It was crazy. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the episode. She has gotten to another level of being self-righteous that, you know, maybe if things are going really well in your life and you get through those things, that's somewhere that you expect to be. You are now supposed to be down in the dumps. You're
You're in the
supposed to
midst
be
of it.
you're supposed to be trying to fight back to make sure that your character gets back to a good level. How the hell are you all the way up here already? How are you having a speech like this? It was
I don't know.
incredible. I don't know where it came from, but it was hilarious.
It was astounding. I was baffled. I was like, how are you taking this approach of who's with me? It's like, no, apologize. Just apologize and shut up. Like, goddamn, this is such a weird approach. But we get to the end of the episode and Mia's talking about the DJ. He's on the radio, not like, you know, playing gigs and all that shit. But
is that better or worse? I
don't know.
No shade to DJs. No shade to DJs at all.
None at all. I don't care. I don't know. I don't know what's better or worse, radio personality or traveling DJ. I don't really care.
The fact that she felt the need to differentiate between the two made it seem like the traveling DJ is the one that would be more shady.
Well, I guess, you know, you could get the rap of being like a SoundCloud DJ, you know, instead of like if you're actually playing gigs and shows. Whereas a DJ for like a radio station, you have a full-time job.
You have a salary.
Maybe that's it. Where she's like, no, he's not like out there spinning records at a club. Like he's actually,
he's not a hustler. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I thought it was fucking great that like, have you shared him with Jaqueline yet? And I'm like, damn. And she's like, no, he actually rides for me. I was like, what are you talking about? And then Jaqueline's like, well, you know, G and Mia were more of like a business decision, like a business relationship, which we have said for a while. So I agreed with that. But it's also going to get a lot of questions because it's like, how long were you guys married? 11 years. It's like, it's a long ass business transaction. And if this was a business transaction, how did it fall apart so like terribly at the end? And also, let's not forget, if there was all this sharing and caring and triples and double, I don't know who they're boinking together. They're sharing people and shit. I don't even know if that was true or if that was a storyline fabricated by Mia, which I'm leaning towards that more. But yeah, if she steps out with a DJ, it's like, I mean, fuck, what were you guys doing though? Like you didn't seem to together when we saw you on TV, so it's not that astounding. I will say this. If Dev stepped out on me with another man and that man folded my laundry, I would fucking kill him. I would fucking murder him. Like, that is so emasculating. Like, it's incredibly emasculating. He folded your drawers for you.
But I don't know for who. Like, I can't tell if
I'm not sure. She cucked them both. That's a double cuck. Mia double cucked. Like, who? It was fold my ex-husband's underwear. Hey, ex-husband, my new man folded your underwear. They both got cucked.
But this is why I've grown to enjoy Mia, and it's not because I think that she's like she knows what she's doing and she's really good at it. It's because she just has no wherewithal to understand where it comes from. The fact that you specified, yes, he folded G's drawers. You could have just been like, no, he just helped out with the kids' laundry while I was doing G's laundry, and you can exonerate him and move away from it. Instead, you double down by saying, yeah, no, he got into his underwear and folded those up for him. That's weird for everybody involved. It's crazy for everybody involved. I love that she mentions that because it's really funny.
But that's my point. When she's at her best, she's just a mess.
Yeah.
Creating a mess, being a mess. That's when she's at her peak. When she tries to be prim and proper and somebody else, like we saw her try to be iconic, it doesn't work. This is your bread and butter. Just cause mayhem. And she does. And then they start asking questions about it. Like G bringing up the affair, saying like, you know, your children are plastered all over the news. Then she gets defensive again. She's like, that's not my fault. Their father did that. No. You don't get to do that. You stepped out on your marriage and got caught. How he tells people is no longer up to you. Is that not the best move for the children for him to do that on camera? Absolutely. Like, yeah, he shouldn't have done that for the sake of the kids. However, you put him in that position and all of your shit has been on TV for years. And you had no problem sharing on TV that you guys are hooking up with other people while married. The kids have to see that. So it's not like it's this groundbreaking, earth shattering moment of, oh my God, Mia cheated on G. It's like, yeah, no shit, Mia cheated on G. And now He's well within his right to out you on TV. Is he a great dude? No, we fucking skewered this guy for years. We don't like G, but at the same time, you can't cheat and then get upset with how it comes out. You fucked up.
You and I both know that if the roles were reversed and G stepped out on Mia and got another girl pregnant and there was another kid out there, she would have stopped at nothing to make sure that everybody involved in the TV show, everybody who was watching the TV show knew that G did that, and she would skewer him without any regard as to what his character might be looking like for the next couple of years, or what that kid's going to have to go through, or what her own kids are going to have to go through.
Correct.
She would have done that in a heartbeat and wouldn't have thought twice about it. So
with no hesitation.
Unfortunately, the reality of being on reality TV. This is what happens.
Correct.
You open yourself up to things like this.
Yeah, that's the reality of reality. But Gizelle goes low and says, you didn't protect your children at all costs. Because what she's saying is, you can't blame G because you put him in this position by doing what you did. Agreed. The way you said it, especially at a table with mothers, but she knows what she's doing. This is why having this Gizelle, who on one hand is like, wow, this is pleasant. On the other hand, is still capable of being like, drop this bomb right here and see what happens, is pristine. Like, she's working her way up the housewives ladder, not just on this show, but overall. Like, this was a great showing from her. If she can continue to be this person that can play both sides like that, because she does. She sets off a bomb and it works. She garners the reaction out of Mia. That's what she was trying to do. Mia gets up, storms away from the table. Her justification is valid. My kids are protected. They're on traveling basketball teams. I'm like, that's true. That's true. That's a good. You're right. You're right.
Knows traveling basketball teams.
You're taking care of them. They're playing basketball on a travel team. So yeah, they're fine.
They're not just on some rec league team that plays in the same gym all the time. They travel.
Correct. You think this is just down at the Y? Go fuck yourself.
They have home and away jerseys. All right.
I paid $7,000 for an AAU tournament last week. All right. My kids are protected. It was crazy, but you know what?
It was a great first episode.
It was a solid first episode. Again, I am not going to sit here and go Potomac's back, but this premiere had to go the way it did.
Yep.
For this show to be successful, mainly because of the bias that happens on Bravo when a season or when a show has a bad season. It's hard to come back from that because people latch onto it and then become hypercritical. I feel like the Bravo fan base as a whole is not good at giving second chances, and Potomac's had a few chances. So this was so massive for them to come out of the gate swinging, and they did. They delivered when they needed to deliver, and that's all you can ask for. You know, from your franchise players.
Start to a season that we thought was completely dying, and they didn't make that many changes. They updated a little bit, but more than anything, as we've said before, you need the mainstays of the show to deliver. And so far, at least one episode in, they are.
But why don't we jump to some questions? And I'm going to say this one just because we've already discussed it, but we need to highlight it once more. From I Am Terry. Karen, question marks. What is her DUI story? We're not really sure.
Wait till the truth comes out one, but if you need to, I Am Terry, go back to the beginning of the episode and watch the reenactment, because I feel like that explains it all.
Those fucking deer, bro. They're overpopulated.
And then she sees the deer about like 5 minutes into the conversation with Gizelle driving
and
through.
Freaks
and she's
out.
like, whoa, where are they coming from? Like,
and she's like, that's a sign. What if I'm just racking my brain of possible outcomes? What if she's going to sue the state for like the wildlife?
Yeah.
Where she's like, the deer are overpopulated. It's not my fault. Or the street lights, like who knows? But
I was only half kidding about the street lights. I
know, but that's what I'm saying. Like that maybe. Let's see. From the feds watching, why does Wendy act more like the group chat moderator than an actual housewife? That's a great point. She doesn't like to get involved to a certain extent.
I don't know. Yeah, it's almost like she's afraid to get involved, because when we do actually see her get involved, whether or not she actually intends on getting involved, she tends to not react very well, and it spirals her and then creates a whole other issue. So maybe she's just kind of like hanging out on the outskirts and trying to not get personally involved. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Let's see. There are two more. Ooh, I like this from Caleb Howell. If Gizelle had a hat for you, what would you want it to look like, and what is its name?
I mean, there's not, I think you should leave thing that I could say. It's a stanzo. They're nice.
So they're nice.
No, I would do a.
You got to buy them in bulk. You got to buy them in bulk, or it's not worth it for me.
Otherwise, no fucking deal.
I got yours.
What's mine? Don't say fedora.
No, it would be a Sherlock Holmes hat, and it would be the sleuth.
I like it.
Yep, because of the stash mainly. Yeah,
I think you would have to do some sort of like a pelt hat, like a raccoon hat, maybe.
I'm down for that. I'm okay with that. I was thinking something Western or Southern. That makes sense to me. What was it called?
Rocky Raccoon. Yeah.
Rocky Raccoon hat? Like a Davy Crockett?
Yeah.
I could do that. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll take that. I also hear what you're saying. The felt cap with like the ear flaps on it. Is that what you're talking about?
Sure.
Yeah. I was
thinking something with a tail though, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I fuck with that.
I like a hat with a tail. Yeah.
Yeah, I could do that. Let's do one more. This is a good one. From Annie K. Richard 2020. Why didn't anyone put pressure on Karen for her DUI, especially when she came after Mia?
I don't know. Are they afraid of Karen? Are they afraid of the backlash? I feel like at some point something's going to give. I don't think it's that either. I think it's just early, and they're really not sure.
Maybe they're trying to be gentle with it, maybe?
They're probably trying to be gentle, but look, if Karen continues to act the way that she acted in this first episode, that's not going to work, because this is not a group that stands idly by while those things are going on. I'm looking at Ashely in particular. I can see Ashely mixing it up and questioning a lot of things because she really doesn't care a whole lot, and she tends to mix it up. So it's all really going to be dictated by how Karen continues down this course. If she repents a little bit, it's not going to be that bad. But if she continues to do what she's been doing, she's going to have to answer some questions.
It's going to get ugly really fast if she continues to be the victim of her own DUI. It's never a smart move, you know, but we got another episode to get to. We're recording our Roni episode today as well. So do you got anything else? We got to get this shit done before Phillies at 5, where our lives are, we're either going to be the happiest boys in the world, or when I tell you severe depression, you don't understand. If this team tanks, like, this was the team, guys. So I don't know how we're going to recover, but we'll figure it out. Okay.
All right. Well, see you guys later.
Bye.